Right. Say a little bit, Sandie, about Common Sense Media. That's something we didn't say much about at the beginning here to kick things off. But what any kind of a brief summary about kind of what you do with Common Sense and what they're doing now. I mean, Common Sense Media is where you see it on if you have Netflix or if you see it in the reviews on your media provider usually.
Yeah, I would say that Common Sense Media has grown to the point where I can't even tell you all of the partnerships that they have with various companies now, where you can see the reviews are just kind of seamlessly woven into different cable providers and different. I mean, it's everywhere. So Common Sense Media, I began writing for them in 2005, in the sense that I was a partner media writer when I worked at Moviefone, and I had a family film guide where I would write the review and I would get the proprietary grid from Common Sense. After I left AOL, because everyone leaves AOL eventually, I got hired to be one of their movie reviewers. And it's not a full-time gig, but I have been writing for them as a senior reviewer now for, I guess that's 14 years in January. And so through that time, I have seen it grow so much. And what we do is we make it easy for parents to sort of have the quick hits as to what the kind of content that their family and their children are consuming is. So whether it is a movie or a book, an app, a video game, I think they do music, although I've never been involved with that. But, definitely all of the other genres and media, you can see what the age appropriateness is based on different child psychologists and educators' rubrics.
Please take the time now to subscribe to The Soul of Life wherever you're listening. Give it a thumbs up or write a positive review. That's the best way to make sure you don't miss out on these amazing episodes planned for season 2.
And then you can make your own decision for your family. We don't tell anybody what to do, and we are not religiously or politically affiliated. It's
really not even morally kind of, it's not like a moralizing kind of tone. It's really just like, here's what happens and here's what you should know.
Right. And I do think that there are other places that count the number of curse words. And I appreciate that we don't do that. I just give you a general idea. And the idea is that we love media, but we realize that parents don't have the time to see and read and listen and play everything that their children are asking. And now we're sort of oversaturated with different things for their...
Can't keep up. It's so hard.
Right? It's impossible. So I also love, and I don't have any part of this, but the editors do it. And I think they do such a good job while we reviewers are doing our part, is that they make these best of lists that are based on the different things we've reviewed. And then those are really helpful. And I give those to different families all the time. I send them the links because they break them up into genres or into kinds of books or games. And sometimes it's age-based and sometimes it's just, best fantasies. And you can just sort of go through those. And recently, I think both the books department and the movies department did best books to read by age 12 and best movies to watch by age 12. And they did seek input from the main reviewers from those sections.
Like you hear the kind of, like, in my opinion, sort of vanilla, sort of neutral kind of review that someone like you might write. They just sort of just the facts. Here's some basic plot. Here are some themes. Here are things that you should be aware of if you have children. And then the parents get into it. Like, one person wrote about WandaVision that, this was appropriate for, for mature kids or something like that. But it was also very confusing and maybe kids might not like that. And then another parent was like, wait a minute, this is not confusing for kids at all. This is confusing for adults
who don't know what's going on. Right. Absolutely. No. And I think that's when you see the ideology and the values of the people who use Common Sense is through those reviews. And I'll never forget that, and again, I'm not here to say that anything that your family values is wrong or right. And except for the fact that I'm going to say a kiss. And it's a kiss to me is a kiss. And if you read in my actual summary that the character is LGBT, then you can make an assumption based on that. But I am not going to spell out whether it's two men kissing or two women kissing or a teenage boy and a teenage girl. Like, I just say kissing. And I appreciate that. We had very, very conservative readers write in their complaints about certain things. And we've had very, very liberal, progressive readers who write in with their complaints.
You get it from both sides, which probably means you're doing a great job.
And I would say that especially much more on the conservative side, I would say, than on the progressive side, there are other options. If what you're looking for is a religious
media
kind
guide.
of overview and guide, there are options for you. We're still reviewers, so I love that it's independent. I can give 5 stars to something that I would rate 17 plus. And I can give a film that is aimed at families, I can still give it 2 stars or 1 star, even if I just feel like it's a waste of your family's time.
Right.
I do think sometimes we forget that something we might dislike is something that kids will enjoy. So an example of that is I didn't personally love the new Tom and Jerry movie. And I think I did give that 2 stars. And I think there were a couple of the reviews. I don't know if it was on Common Sense or somewhere else where there were kids saying, but I loved it. And I was like, and that's why I gave it 2 stars and not 1 star.